such as promoting stability, observing ceasefire, and protecting people. The list, as we know, is very long of countries which successfully reach stability with the support of peacekeeping. And as we speak today, our peacekeepers, your peacekeepers, protect people. They make the difference between life and death for hundreds of thousands of civilians. They monitor ceasefire. They help build national key capabilities. Their role is indispensable, and their achievements need to be acknowledged. UN peacekeeping benefits from global support, and this was demonstrated by the participation of many ministers, many senior generals, many senior officials from around the world at the latest peacekeeping ministerial meeting that was held in Berlin, when more than 135 member states participated. And I wish to thank India for its participation and pledges. For decades, India has been one of the most outspoken and constant supporters of UN peacekeeping operation, and it has consistently been amongst the largest contributors to UN peacekeeping, with over 5,000 personnel currently deployed. So we must pay tribute to the peacekeepers, both from India and from other countries, from your countries, for their service, and particularly recognize and honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice while serving under the blue flag of the United Nations. Generals, Excellency, colleagues, this meeting is particularly timely. We all know that we are facing a number of significant challenges, and the only way to successfully address them is through a collective, partnership-based approach. These challenges are of three natures, essentially: political, operational, and financial. The political challenge is evident. The international community is divided. The appetite, as a result of that, the appetite for collective responses to crisis is diminishing. And, of course, the support to peace efforts is less strong and less united. So we need to get together and call for more unity. I know it's very aspirational, but at the same time, our job is essentially political. We need to get together and rally in calling for a more united support, not only to peacekeeping, but also to the political processes that are associated to every single peace operation. Now, the second challenge, obviously, is operational. The environment in which peacekeeping operations are working has deteriorated, both from the political point of view, but also from the security point of view. We're facing emerging drivers of conflict, such as the impact of climate change, the role of international global terrorism, or the question of the role of enablers, technological enablers, the negative aspect of digital technology. So these increasingly challenging operational environments require a continuous review and development of training standards and materials. And we're working collectively to develop training packages to address such threats as explosive hazards and mis- and disinformation, hate speech, and also we're currently updating the core pre-deployment training material. We rely on your work as troop contributing countries in contributing subject matter experts and hosting trainings of trainers, particularly when it comes to convening critical topics such as critical topics such as protection of civilians, community engagement, or conflict-related sexual violence. In times of resource constraints, collaborative and innovative solutions are essential to bridging the gap between needs and available means. The UN, the troop contributing countries, the capacity building partners must strive to reduce duplication, foster cooperation, and maximize the impact of existing resources. In our sister department, the Department of Operations Support, which is headed by a very distinguished citizen of India, my friend and the Secretary General Atul Khare, multilateral training partnerships such as the Triangular Partnership Program, or TPP, continue to gain momentum by harnessing member state and troop contributing country peacekeeping expertise, including from India and other member states present today. I would just highlight a few key areas, what I believe are key areas of training as we move forward. for which we will continue to need your support. Expertise in digital technology, obviously, data. Expertise in communication, because we need to better communicate on the added value of our peacekeepers on the ground. And of course, stepping up the efforts to train more women peacekeepers, because we do believe certainly that more women in peacekeeping means a more effective peacekeeping. Now the other challenge is a financial one. It's not new, but it's more daunting than ever. Our Secretary General informed the troop and police contributing last week, as well as the Security Council, that he has decided to request all missions under the peacekeeping budget to identify a reduction in expenditures equal to 15%, that is 15% of the 25-26 budget. These reductions in expenditures will include all areas, uniform components, civilian staff, and operations. We will need to repatriate around 25% of peacekeeping troops.
एक का डबल
पहले जांच फिर निवेश
निवेश पक्का
contributions. And we are currently sharing with all troop contributing countries information about the impact on their individual contribution. We need your understanding and support, but we also need to work together to redress that situation. Your advocacy, our collective advocacy will be absolutely essential. The advocacy with all member states so that all of them pay in full and on time their contribution to peacekeeping. Your advocacy to help counter campaigns that spread mis and disinformation about peacekeeping operation in countries in which we operate, and at the same time highlight the added value, the indispensable added value of your peacekeepers. Continue speaking to the value of peacekeeping with your partners. Help us push for stronger political support for current and future missions. General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the UN is marking its 80th anniversary while standing at a pivotal juncture in reimagining its peacekeeping operations. We are now collectively undertaking a review of the future of all forms of UN peace operation that it was requested in the Pact for a Future, which was adopted by member states. This offers a timely opportunity to align peacekeeping operations with the evolving nature of conflict dynamics and political realities, allowing them to be better fit for the future. The Action for Peacekeeping initiative and its implementation strategy, Action for Peacekeeping Plus, have galvanized collective support to strengthen peacekeeping through shared commitments. The next phase of this initiative will be launched by early 2026, and of course, we will be discussing with you the key priorities. I would like to highlight some of them as we move forward. First, performance. Measures to strengthen organizational performance, conduct and accountability are critical to further strengthen UN peacekeeping, and performance is a collective responsibility. It's about improving our own performance as UN Secretariat, it's about improving the performance of our peacekeepers, it's about how we improve collectively the way in which we work in an integrated manner. We are regularly updating and revising the integrated peacekeeping performance and accountability framework. The military unit evaluation system was improved and piloted this year, and we have also begun formal recognition of military and police units for their outstanding performance. And I would like to reiterate my appreciation to our troop contributing countries, certainly including India, for their close collaboration and support in this area. We will continue to implement measures to ensure that all personnel, both uniform and civilians, maintain the highest standards of conduct. Achieving this commitment requires that personnel are fully trained on expectations related to their conduct, according to the UN standard. Second priority is cost effectiveness, which General Dwivedi, you mentioned. In addition to the liquidity conservation measures that were announced last week, peacekeeping missions have been prioritizing efforts to improve cost effectiveness by fostering a culture of efficiency in both budget requests and resource utilization. This is in line with the Secretary General's UN 80 initiative with the aim of adapting what we call the peace and security pillar of the United Nations, to be lean, agile, and field-focused, delivering impact across mission and non-mission settings. Here again, I would like to highlight the role of technology, of new methodologies, to not only improve the work we do, but also improve the cost effectiveness. Clearly, again, as you mentioned, General Dwivedi, we will have limited resources as we move forward. It's a fact. We have to deal with it, and we have to address effectively this situation. The role of technology will be important. The role of improving our methodology will be also essential. I believe that together we need to look at the various areas in which we can improve cost effectiveness without degrading the effectiveness of our work. Now, in conclusion, I believe that readiness is key. We cannot predict exactly what kind of peacekeeping operation the Security Council may mandate in the years ahead, what kind of task, what kind of combination of tasks we will be given. The history of peacekeeping, as we all know, is one of ups and downs and ebbs and flows. We have experimented already a number of pretty much all combination of capacities, various mandates, various types of partnership. I believe that collectively we have been able to adapt to the expectations and requests depending on the diversity of crisis. But we have to be ready. That is something that we can do collectively, drawing on decades of collective experience and expertise from member states, from troop and police contributing countries to adapt to new needs as they arrive. And one thing is absolutely clear: to be prepared for the future, we must prepare today. The challenges ahead are real, but so is our capacity to meet them if we stay united in purpose, pragmatic in action, and unwavering in our commitment to peace. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lakwa, for your
General Upendra Dwivedi, Chief of Army Staff, Indian Army. Excellency Ambassador Pavataneni Harish, the Permanent Representative of India to the United Nations. Chiefs of Army Staff, Generals, Officers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to participate in the first Army Chiefs Conclave of UN troop contributing countries, and I thank the Indian Army for the invitation to speak and address you today. I really thank India for bringing together what I call the family of peacekeeping. Over roughly 8 decades, UN peacekeeping, which is one of the UN flagship activities, have achieved demonstrable success in core objectives, such as promoting stability, observing ceasefire, and protecting people. The list, as we know, is very long of countries which successfully reached stability with the support of peacekeeping. And as we speak today, our peacekeepers, your peacekeepers, protect people. They make the difference between life and death for hundreds of thousands of civilians. They monitor ceasefire. They help build national key capabilities. Their role is indispensable, and their achievement need to be acknowledged. UN peacekeeping benefits from global support, and this was demonstrated by the participation of many ministers, many senior generals, many senior officials from around the world at the latest peacekeeping ministerial meeting that was held in Berlin, when more than 135 member states participated. And I wish to thank India for its participation and pledges. For decades, India has been one of the most outspoken and constant supporters of UN peacekeeping operation, and it has consistently been amongst the largest contributors to UN peacekeeping, with over 5,000 personnel currently deployed. So we must pay tribute to the peacekeepers, both from India and from other countries, from your countries, for their service, and particularly recognize and honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice while serving under the blue flag of the United Nations. Generals, Excellency, colleagues, this meeting is particularly timely. We all know that we are facing a number of significant challenges, and the only way to successfully address them is through a collective, partnership-based approach. These challenges are of 3 natures, essentially: political, operational and financial. The political challenge is evident. The international community is divided. The appetite, as a result of that, the appetite for collective responses to crisis is diminishing. And, of course, the support to peace efforts is less strong and less united. So we need to get together and call for more unity. I know it's very aspirational, but at the same time, our job is essentially political. We need to get together and rally in calling for a more united support, not only to peacekeeping, but also to the political processes that are associated to every single peace operation. Now, the second challenge, obviously, is operational. The environment in which peacekeeping operations are working has deteriorated, both from the political point of view, but also from the security point of view. We're facing emerging drivers of conflict, such as the impact of climate change, the role of international and global terrorism, or the question of the role of enablers, technological enablers, the negative aspect of digital technology. So these increasingly challenging operational environments require a continuous review and development of training standards and materials. And we're working collectively to develop training packages to address such threats as explosive hazards and mis- and disinformation, hate speech, and also we're currently updating the core pre-deployment training material. We rely on your work as troop contributing countries in contributing subject matter experts and hosting trainings of trainers, particularly when it comes to convening critical topics such as critical topics such as protection of civilians, community engagement, or conflict-related sexual violence. In times of resource constraints, collaborative and innovative solutions are essential to bridging the gap between needs and available means.
For today's challenges. In closing, I extend my deepest appreciation to Indian Army and General Dwivedi for their vision and leadership in bringing us together for this historic conclave. I reaffirm Bhutan's commitment to work closely with all troop contributing countries to keep UN peacekeeping strong, inclusive, and impactful. Together, let us ensure that UN peacekeeping remains not only a symbol of hope, but also an effective force for more peaceful and secure world. Thank you and Tashidre.
Lieutenant General Shering, thank you very much for your inclusive address. Ladies and gentlemen, join me now welcoming on stage Major General Jean-Claude Ni Burana, the Chief of Land Force, Burundi National Defense Force. We warmly welcome you, sir. Thank you.
The Under Secretary General, the Indian Army Chief, distinguished Army Chiefs, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor and a privilege to stand before you at this meeting that brings together Army leaders from across the globe. Allow me to begin by expressing my deep gratitude to our hosts for their warm welcome and exceptional hospitality extended to us. The excellent arrangements have created a perfect environment for constructive discussions on a theme that defends the future of peacekeeping, capability building and resource mobilization for sustainable peacekeeping operations. This conclave represents a platform to strengthen cooperation and partnership in pursuit of global peace and security. My country takes immense pride in our commitment to the global stability. Since 2006, we have actively contributed troops and military observers to UN and regional peacekeeping missions in some of the world's most challenging environments, such as the Central African Republic, Somalia, and Sudan. In those conflict areas, our soldiers stand shoulder to shoulder with yours in pursuit of stability. We convene at a time when a peacekeeping mission operates in increasingly complex environment characterized by fragile political agreement, multiple armed groups that exploit new technologies, the rise of the terrorism and transnational organized crime, and effective of climate change. The effectiveness of sustainability of peacekeeping operations in these increasingly demanding conditions depends on our ability to anticipate and adapt. As army leaders, it is our duty to prepare our soldiers not only for today's threats, but also for tomorrow's challenges through a comprehensive training programs, modern equipment and doctrine that evolve as rapidly as threats we face. The safety and effectiveness of our peacekeeping depend on our commitment to this duty. Adaptation alone is not sufficient without adequate resources. We cannot ask our peacekeepers to accomplish increasingly complex mission without providing them the tools they need to succeed and survive. The security and safety of peacekeeper depends on protective equipment, enhanced situational awareness, communication network that cannot be compromised, and intelligence capability that keep pace with asymmetric threats. Acquiring modern protective equipment, cutting-edge surveillance systems, and advanced communication systems to face new challenges requires substantial resources. Yet available funds to sustain peacekeeping missions are under pressure. Today, as never before, the international solidarity and the collective effort are much needed to adequately fund peacekeeping operations. Distinguished audience, with collective will and commitment, we can overcome financial challenges and provide peacekeepers with adequate equipment and support. Thank you for your kind attention.
Major General Burana, thank you very, very much. We now invite General Alimshed Degev Balcha, the Chief of Land Force and Military Advisor, Ethiopia.
Your Excellency General Upendra Dwivedi, Chief of the Army Staff of India, Mr. Under Secretary General, distinguished Chief of Armies, distinguished Chief of Senior Military Officers, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. Good morning. It is a profound honor and a privilege for me to represent the Ethiopian Defense Force at this distinguished Army Chiefs Conclave of the United Nations troop contributing countries held in the historic and friendly nation of India. At the outset, on the behalf of the Ethiopian Defense Forces, allow me to convey my sincere appreciation to the Army, the government, and the people of India for their warm hospitality and excellent arrangements made for this important gathering. This conclave reflects India's enduring commitment to multilateral cooperation, international peace, and the noble ideals of the United Nations. Excellencies, Ethiopia takes immense pride in its long-standing and distinguished record in global peacekeeping. As one of the founding members of the United Nations, Ethiopia has remained steadfast in upholding the principles and purpose of the UN Charter. The United Nations Command deployed 1 battalion of Ethiopian troops to the Korean Peninsula in 1951, making the beginning of our nation's engagement in peacekeeping. The courage, discipline, and professionalism demonstrated by Ethiopian troops during the Korean War earned international respect and set a foundation for Ethiopia's enduring legacy in UN peacekeeping operations. Since then, the Ethiopian Defense Force has continued to serve with distinction in numerous United Nations and African Union peacekeeping missions, including Rwanda, Liberia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Abyei, Sudan, where Ethiopia served as the sole troop contributor, and in Somalia as well. Through these operations, the Ethiopian Defense Force has developed extensive operational experience, institutional knowledge, and professional expertise, consistently demonstrating commitment to peace, stability, and international cooperation, demonstrating impartiality, discipline, and unwavering commitment to the protection of civilians. Ethiopian peacekeepers have gained the trust of local communities and international partners, alike reflecting the highest standards of the United Nations peacekeeping principles. Excellencies, the Ethiopian Defense Force deeply values its historic and enduring relationship with the Indian Army. Our defense partnership is founded on mutual respect, shared values, and a long-standing commitment to regional and international peace. This partnership was initiated by His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie during his state visit to India, where he observed Indian defense institutions and sought to strengthen Ethiopian military capabilities. Following this historic visit, India provided invaluable assistance in establishing the Harar Military Academy, which became the cornerstone of professional military education and training in Ethiopia. Over the decades, this collaboration has expanded to include training exchange, technical assistance, and continuous professional engagement, reflecting the enduring strength of our bilateral defense relations. Excellencies, the contemporary global security environment is increasingly complex and dynamic. Challenges such as asymmetric warfare, terrorism, violent extremism, cyber threats, regional instability, and humanitarian crisis demand not only courage and professionalism, but also enhanced collaboration and unity of purpose among troop contributing countries. From Ethiopian perspective, there are 3 strategic priorities for strengthening the effectiveness and credibility of United Nations peacekeeping. First, enhancing interoperability, joint training, and shared operational planning among troop contributing countries. Harmonized standards, joint exercise, and mutual understanding are crucial to operational success and to achieving unified objectives in this field. Second, improving logistical coordination, intelligence sharing, and rapid deployment mechanisms. Timely and well-coordinated action not only ensure mission efficiency, but also safeguards the lives of our peacekeepers. Third, giving highest priority to the welfare, safety, and morale of our peacekeepers who serve selflessly in difficult and often volatile environments. Their professionalism and dedication exemplify the human dimensions of our collective commitment to peace. Excellencies, Ethiopia firmly believes is that peacekeeping is not solely about preventing conflict. It is about building trust, fostering reconciliation, supporting governance, and enabling societies to recover and prosper. The Ethiopian National Defense Force remains committed to continuing its contribution to UN peacekeeping operations, strengthening partnerships with fellow troop contributing countries, and sharing its institutional experience in areas such as bilateral defense partnership rooted in shared values, historical ties, and a common vision for regional and global stability. Ethiopia looks forward to deepening this cooperation for the mutual benefit of our nations and the international community. In conclusion, allow me to once again convey Ethiopia's sincere appreciation to the government and people of India for hosting this important conclave and for their long-standing and exemplary contribution to United Nations peacekeeping. May the deliberations of this conclave strengthen our shared resolve, unity of purpose, and collective commitment to enhancing the effectiveness, adaptability, and sustainability of UN peacekeeping operations for the benefit of global peace and security. I thank you.
General Balcha, thank you so much for echoing your warm thoughts. On that note, Brigadier General Manoa Driwakamaka Gadai, Commander Joint Task Force Command Fiji, is requested now to deliver his address. We warmly welcome you as well, sir.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Bolovinaka, Namaste, and a very good morning to you all. At the outset, please allow me to acknowledge the presence of the United Nations Under-Secretary General for the Department of Peace Operations, His Excellency Mr. Jean-Pierre Lacroix, and our most gracious hosts, the Indian Armed Forces, led by the Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, for their warm hospitality and excellent work for hosting this auspicious event. I also wish to acknowledge the presence of the distinguished Chiefs of Defense and delegates from the various troop contributing countries represented here today. It is both an honor and my solemn duty to stand before you and speak on behalf of those who wear the blue helmet, the brave men and women who embody the ideals of peace, often at the cost of their own lives. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I rise today not merely to contribute to this important conclave, but to speak sincerely from my heart on behalf of all UN peacekeepers who stand at the world's most dangerous front lines, confronting injustice, extremism, and conflict in the pursuit of peace, security, and shared prosperity. I speak to you today as a peacekeeper and as a representative of a nation that has given much in the service of international peace and security. Fiji, a nation of just less than 1 million people, is among the top contributors of UN peacekeeping troops in the world when measured per capita. That has carried the weight of global peacekeeping far beyond our smaller size. But our service has not come without pain and sacrifice. I started my UN peacekeeping duties way back in UNIFIL in 1989. Unfortunately, little or minimal changes has been done to change our UN mandates to confront the real threats and challenges faced by our UN peacekeepers on the ground. The United Nations mandates, especially the UNDOF mandate, has become vague, restrictive, and politically compromised to what is happening on the ground. They limit our troops, they weaken our missions, and too often they cost lives. I recall in August 2014, our Fijian battalion paid a heavy price. 45 of our soldiers were taken hostage by an al-Nusra terrorist group while upholding UNDOF mandate that gave them no clarity, no authority, and no protection. The result was tragic. Our troops were caught between the expectations of the divisive UN Security Council resolution and the realities of the Syrian war on the ground. That sad experience left deep scars on our soldiers, on their families, and my beloved nation. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to say this very clearly. A politically diluted mandate and without flexibility is a danger to every peacekeeper. It limits our ability to act. It erodes the credibility of the UN and puts lives of our UN peacekeepers at risk. We have witnessed the devastating power of terrorist groups when they are taken for granted. Their deliberate efforts to undermine our civilization, our democracy, and the peace and prosperity we cherish are relentless. They exploit and manipulate innocent civilians and even misuse places of worship, schools, and hospitals to spread fear, hatred, and their extremist ideologies. Such threats must be confronted decisively and lawfully under a clear UN mandate to protect innocent civilians, uphold the rule of law, and defend the values and principles that unite us under the UN Charter. Should the situation permit and the UN peacekeeping force be deployed in a new UN field mission, possibly in Gaza, it is imperative that we draw critical lessons from our past experiences under the UNIFIL and UNDOF mandates. We must not repeat the same structural and operational weaknesses and limit the effectiveness of those UN mandates. Secondly, the force commanders and TCC commanders in the field or in the UN mission areas must be trusted with greater operational freedom and authority. They are the ones confronting threat groups, negotiating under fire, and managing crisis in real time. Decisions delayed by layers of bureaucracy means lives cost on the ground. We must return to the basic principles that those who command in UN field missions should be empowered to decide and act decisively. Thirdly, the current tariff restrictions imposed by the US and the dire security situations in the Gaza has restricted our procurement capabilities. It is unacceptable that TCC in the Middle East cannot even source basic equipment, ammunition, or logistic support from host or neighboring countries like Israel. Given now the war in Gaza is over, I humbly request our UN headquarters in New York to please allow TCC to procure equipment and ammunition from Israel to ensure operational readiness and cost efficiency. Peacekeeping cannot function on delayed shipments and bureaucratic approvals from nations far away from UN field missions in the Middle East. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me also stress two urgent matters that can no longer be ignored. One, intelligence sharing and situational awareness must be prioritized. We cannot send troops into hostile environments with limited intelligence and expect huge strategic outcomes. The use of technology in countering threats in UN missions, technology enhances our ability to detect, deter, and respond to threats. Drones and sensors improve early warnings. Such secure communication and artificial intelligence strengthen coordination and threat assessment. Strong cybersecurity measures protect mission data. Together, these technologies enable peacekeepers to act decisively, safeguard civilians, and maintain the mission integrity against emerging threats. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peacekeeping has evolved. The UN field missions we operate in are complex, asymmetrical, and politically volatile. Yet, the mandates, the authorities, and the equipment we are given remain less effective. Our troops deserve clarity of purpose, freedom of action, and assurance of support. Every time the UN hesitates to act, a peacekeeper stands exposed. Every time a mandate is left ambiguous, a soldier's life hangs in the balance. We have lost too many. We have sacrificed too much. Therefore, I respectfully urge the United Nations to revisit the very foundation of peacekeeping, its mandates, its command structures, its procurement systems and processes, and its accountability to those who we truly serve. To conclude, let us remind ourselves that peace is not maintained by politics. It is maintained by people, by us, the TCCs, especially the brave men and women who stand between chaos and order, with courage in their hearts and the blue UN flag on their shoulders. We owe it to them to ensure that never again will a UN peacekeeper be placed in harm's way because of indecision, bureaucracy, or political compromise. I call on the United Nations to act decisively, to lead boldly, and to never again allow politics to endanger our peace and security and our shared prosperity. Navalevu, Dhanavad, and I thank everyone who continues to serve the peace under the most difficult conditions with faith, honor, and unshakable resolve. I thank you.
Brigadier General Gada, thank you so much for your pertinent remarks. Up next, Major General Mereke Mativovich Kuchek-Bayev, Chief of Land Forces, Kazakhstan, will now render. Sir, please.
General Upendra Dwivedi, Chief of Army Staff, Indian Army. Excellency Ambassador Pavataneni Harish, the Permanent Representative of India to the United Nations.
Коллеги, представители государств, предоставляющие воинские контингенты в операции по поддержанию мира под эгидой ООН. Прежде всего, позвольте выразить искреннюю благодарность индийской стороне и организаторам мероприятий за возможность обсудить актуальные вопросы в сфере миротворчества. Хочу отметить, что данная площадка предоставляет уникальную возможность для обмена мнениями, а также поиска новых путей и механизмов для улучшения совместных усилий по сохранению мира. Для Казахстана участие в поддержании международного мира и безопасности является приоритетом государственной политики. И мы неизменно поддерживаем усилия ООН в данной области. К настоящему времени около 1000 казахстанских военнослужащих выполнили и продолжают выполнять свои обязательства по имплементации резолюции Совета Безопасности в 10 миссиях ООН. Казахстан также поддерживает гендерную политику ООН по обеспечению участия женщин в миротворческих операциях. В рамках реализации резолюции Совета Безопасности ООН под номером 1325 «Женщины, мир и безопасность». Миротворческая деятельность Казахстана в рамках ООН берет свое начало с 2008 года, когда были направлены первые военные эксперты в миссию ООН в Непале, далее миссии в Западной Сахаре, Кот-д'Ивуаре, Ливане, Южноафриканской Республике, Мали, Демократической Республике Конго. В целях приобретения опыта в подготовке и направлении национального контингента на миссию ООН в 2018 и 2023 годах Казахстан впервые развернул свое подразделение вместе с индийской стороной в составе временной сил ООН в Ливане. За этот период около 600 военнослужащих Казахстана получили ценнейшие практические навыки, которые стали фундаментом для формирования первого самодостаточного национального миротворческого контингента, направленного в марте 2024 года в составе сил ООН по наблюдению за разъединением на Голландских высотах. Уважаемые коллеги, хочу подчеркнуть, что на сегодняшний день Казахстан имеет возможность осуществлять полный цикл подготовки миротворцев в соответствии с требованием и стандартом ООН. В этих целях нами создан Центр миротворческих операций КАС-Центр, соответствующей инфраструктурой, учебной, материальной и технической базой, профессиональным инструкторско-преподавательским составом. Осознавая необходимость консолидации и объединения усилий, Казахстан совместно с Департаментом миротворческих операций ООН ежегодно на базе Центра КАС-Центр проводит региональный круглый стол для обсуждения перспектив взаимодействия, в том числе оказания содействия в подготовке подразделений стран Центральной Азии в рамках миротворческой деятельности ООН. Принимая во внимание текущие потребности ООН, Казахстан подтвердил свою приверженность и заявил о намерении направить специализированные миротворческие подразделения, такие как разведывательные, инженерно-саперные, мобильный госпиталь, взвод военной полиции и подразделения беспилотной летательной авиации в миссии ООН в рамках так называемых умных обязательств. Полагаем, что в условиях современных вызовов безопасности подобные хорошо обученные специализированные подразделения должны играть ключевую роль в вопросах поддержания мира и повышения эффективности миротворческих усилий ООН. Для адекватного реагирования на возникающие вызовы считаем необходимым, кроме формирования специализированных миротворческих подразделений, обратить особое внимание на создание инфраструктуры искусственного интеллекта для анализа и обработки массивных данных, что позитивно повлияет на ускорение процесса принятия эффективных решений, что отражено в так называемой концепции миротворчества 2.0 по переходу от традиционных подходов, основанных на наблюдении и сдерживании конфликта с использованием инновационных технологий, гибких стратегий и укрепления международного сотрудничества. Мы считаем, что миротворческие миссии должны сочетать как военные, так и политические и гуманитарные меры, направленные не только на предотвращение насилия, но также для устранения его первопричин. Уважаемые участники конференции, миротворческие операции ООН сегодня выходят за рамки традиционных задач, таких как ведение боевых действий и мониторинг и охватывают гораздо более широкий спектр обязанностей. К ним относятся поддержание верховенства закона и защита прав человека, что включает обеспечение безопасности в ходе выборов в странах, поддерживающих конфликты или находящихся на постконфликтном периоде. Гуманитарная помощь и содействие восстановлению после конфликтов, что особенно важно пострадавшего населения путем усиления программы разоружения, демобилизации и реинтеграции. Реабилитация миротворцев в постмиссионный период. Гуманитарное разминирование в конфликтные и постконфликтные периоды, что должно стать частью процесса миростроительства. Для успешного выполнения этих задач мандаты миротворческие миссии должны оставаться четкими, гибкими, адаптируемыми к меняющимся ситуациям, обеспечивая плавный переход от поддержания мира к мироустройству. Таким образом, миротворство ООН сталкивается с множеством вызовов, которые требуют инновационных решений, гибкости в подходах и более активного вовлечения международного сообщества. Казахстан продолжает активно поддерживать эти усилия, предлагая свои ресурсы и опыт для развития миротворческих операций в глобальном масштабе. Уверен, что наша совместная работа станет прочной основой для построения мира и стабильности в условиях меняющейся международной обстановки. Спасибо большое, благодарю за внимание.
Major General Kuchekbayev, thank you so much for your address. Colonel Kalmatayev Kumarbek Murzabekovich, the Acting Chief of the General Staff, Kyrgyzstan, request you to please address the august gathering.
Уважаемый генерал Суспенер-Дюведи, уважаемые участники конференции, уважаемый заместитель, прежде всего, позвольте мне от имени Министерства обороны Кыргызской Республики и от себя лично поблагодарить руководство Республики Индии и, в частности, Министерство обороны за высокий уровень организации конференции и за приглашение принять участие на данном мероприятии. Проведение этой конференции в стране, которая имеет богатый опыт участия в миротворческих миссиях ООН и весомый вклад в международное сообщество, имеет особое значение. Выражаю признательность за предоставленную возможность обсудить современные подходы к миротворчеству, имеющие ключевое значение для обеспечения мира и безопасности в современном мире. Кыргызская республика неизменно поддерживает усилия Организации Объединенных Наций по укреплению международного мира и как полноправный член международного сообщества разделяет общую ответственность за поддержание международной безопасности и стабильности. Мы рассматриваем миротворчество как один из ключевых инструментов солидарности, взаимного доверия и тесного взаимодействия государств-членов по предотвращению и урегулированию конфликтов. Кыргызстан с обретением независимости в 90-е годы, будучи сторонником глобальной и коллективной безопасности, стал одним из первых стран Центральной Азии, который направил своих офицеров и полицейских в миротворческие миссии ООН по поддержанию мира в Косово, Сьерра-Леоне, Либерию, Южный Судан и Судан. По сей день наши военнослужащие достойно выполняют задачи в миротворческих миссиях, демонстрируя высокий профессионализм, ответственность и готовность к взаимодействию многонациональной среде. Мы гордимся тем, что наши миротворцы служат в различных уголках мира, помогая восстанавливать стабильность и защищать гражданское население. Они соответствуют самым высоким стандартам поведения и дисциплины. Министерство обороны Кыргызской Республики намерено расширить свое участие в миротворчестве, выражает готовность предоставить миротворческое подразделение и военно-полевой госпиталь второго уровня для оказания медицинской помощи в миротворческих миссиях под эгидой ООН. Данный медицинский компонент способен оказывать квалифицированную хирургическую помощь, обеспечить эвакуацию и лечение раненых, а также оказывать содействие в гуманитарных миссиях. Выражаем надежду, что это будет конкретным вкладом Кыргызстана в укрепление потенциала миротворческих операций. Уважаемые коллеги, на основе всех вышеуказанных достижений и стремлений Кыргызской Республики в реализации принципов и требований Организации Объединенных Наций Кыргызская Республика уверенно выдвинула свою кандидатуру на пост непостоянного члена Совета Безопасности ООН в 2027-2028 годах и надеется на вашу поддержку. Подтверждает свою приверженность целям и принципам Организации Объединенных Наций и будут далее вносить посильный вклад в усилия международного сообщества по обеспечению мира и стабильности. В заключение хотелось бы отметить, что конференция станет не только как площадка для обмена мнениями, но и как практический шаг к укреплению коллективного потенциала, что миротворчество не только предотвращение вооруженных конфликтов, но и создание условий для примирения и восстановления доверия между сторонами. Каждый из нас может внести свой вклад в создание более безопасного мира для будущих поколений. Спасибо за внимание.
Colonel Murzabekovich, thank you very much. And with that, Major General Sokjergal Chimgochu, the Commander of Land Force, Mongolian Armed Forces, is hereby requested to please come forward to the dais and share his thoughts. Thank you.
Ирхэм генерал офицер ноёд хаттай нараа. Монгол улсын дэвшигчнийг төлөөлөн Монгол улсын нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын энхийг дэмжих ажиллагааны оролцооны талаар та бүдэд товчхон танилцуулга хийж байгаа нь миний хувьд нэр төрийн хэрэг юм а. Инх тайван, доктортой байдал, олон улсын хамтын ажиллагааны үнд зүйлсийг эрхэмлэдэг Монгол улс нь дэлхийн инх тайван, аюулгүй байдлыг хангахад нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын энхийг дэмжих ажиллагааны чухал үүрэг гүйцэтгэдэг гэдгийг хүлээн зөвшөөрдөг. Тиймээс энхийг сахиулах ажиллагаа нь тусгай оролцоо, стратегийн хамтрал, шинэлэг арга барилыг шаарддаг хамтын хүчин чармаалт гэд бид итгэх юм а. Монгол улсын дэвшигчнээс анх 2002 онд цэргийн 2 ажиглагч офицерыг илгээж эхэлснээс хойш одоогоор 23 жилийн турш нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын энхийг дэмжих ажиллагаанд тууштай цэрэг хандивлаж байна. Одоогийн байдлаар Монгол улс нийтдээ 23,000 орчим цэргийн албаагчийг дэлхийн халуун цэгүүдэд илгээгээд байна. Үүнд Сьерра Леон, Чад, Либер, Судан, бүгд найрамд гардсан Конгос, Баруун Сахар, Өмнөд Судан, Төв Африкийн бүгд найрамд улс Йемен, Ливан, 2 Судан улсын хил дээрх Абемуж, Кипр, Этиоп, Гүрж гэх мэт улсууд орж байна. 2025 оны 10 дугаар сарын 12-ны байдлаар нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын 8 энхийг сахиулах ажиллагаанд нийт 895 цэргийн албаагч, үүнээс 124 эмэгтэй энхийг сахиулагч үүргээ нэр төрдөө биелүүлж байна. Одоогийн байдлаар дэлхийд дээр нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын 12 энхийг сахиулах ажиллагаа явагдаж байгаа бөгөөд Монгол улсын дэвшигчийн Нүбийн энхийг сахиулах ажиллагаанд цэрэг илгээгч орнуудын жагсаалтанд 2025 оны 7 дугаар сарын байдлаар 19 дугаар ирэмлэгдэж байгаа нь Монгол улсын хүн ам, зэвсэг түвшний боломж, хүний нөөцийн чадвартай харьцуулахад чамлагаагүй үзүүлэлт гэж бид үздэг юм а. Монгол улсын зэвсэгтүүчин үүрэг гүйцэтгэх штабын офицер, ахлагч, цэргийн ажиллагч, холбогч офицеруудын тоо өссөөр бөгөөд одоогоор 4 ажиллагаанд 46 цэргийн албаагч бие даан үүрэг гүйцэтгэж байна. Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагад цэрэг хандуулах чадварыг бэхжүүлэх, сургах талаар Монгол улс инхийг сахиулагчдыг хүний эрх, гендерийн тэгш байдал, соёлын мэдрэмжтэй байдлыг чухалчилж, нарийн төвөгтэй үүрэг даалгавар сайтар бэлтгэж сургахад анхаардаг. Үүний жишээ нь хааны эрэлд олон улсын инхийг дэмжих ажиллагааны сургалтыг жил бүр Монгол улс зохион байгуулж, дэлхийн олон улсуудаас уг дадлага сургалт цэргүүдэд оролцуулж байна. Мөн нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын сурагч багшийн дамжаа, нүүбийн ажиглагч болон штабын офицерын дамжаануудыг тогтмол зохион байгуулсаар байна. Инхий дэмжих ажиллагааны цэргийн багийг илгээх оролцуулах ирээдүйн зорилтын талаар Монгол улсын зэвсэгтүүчин урт болон дунд хугацааны бодлого болон Монгол улсын батлан хамгаалах сайдын чиглэлийн дагуу нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын инхийг сахиулах ажиллагаанд оролцоог өргөжүүлэхээр ажиллаж байна. Монгол улсын зэвсэгтүүчний дараах 4 салбарыг нүүбийн инхийг сахиулах ажиллагааны бэлэн байдлын системд бүртгүүлсэн. Одоо бүгд энэ системийн бэлэн байдлын 2 дугаар түвшинд байгаа билээ. Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын инхийг сахиулах ажиллагааны 2 дугаар шатны эмнэлгийн цэргийн багийг оролцуулахаар бэлтгэж бэлэн байдлын түвшинг ахиулах ажиллагаанд илгээх саяхан бид нүүбийн инхийг сахиулах ажиллагааны газраас 2 дугаар шатны эмнэлгийн бэлэн байдлын түвшинг нүүбийн инхийг сахиулах ажиллагааны бэлэн байдлын системийн ажиллагаанд илгээх бэлэн буюу бэлэн байдлын 4 дугаар түвшинд ахиулах урилга хүлээж авсан. Одоогоор холбогдох материалыг илгээн бэлтгэл ажлыг хангаж байна. Нүүбийн инхийг сахиулах ажиллагаанд түргэн байрлах хүчний ороотыг оролцуулах, техник хэрэгслийг бүрдүүлэх, төвшинг ахиулах ажиллагаанд оролцуулахаар бэлтгэж байна. Мөн инженерийн ороотыг оролцуулахаар бэлэн байдал бэлтгэлийг ханган ажиллаж байна. Цаашдаа Монгол улсын зэвсэгтүүчин нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын инхийг сахиулах ажиллагаанд оролцоог хадгалан олсон амжилтаа баттгаж эрчимжүүлэхээр мэрэгжүүлэх чиглэлийг баримтлан ажиллана. Мөн нүүбийн инхийг сахиулагчдыг сургаж бэлдэх замаар хувь нэрээ оруулах болно. Монгол улс инх тайван, тогтвортой байдал, олон улсын хамтын ажиллагааны үндэсний үнд зүйлд нийлүүлэн инхийг сахиулах үйл ажиллагаагаар дамжуулан дэлхийн инх тайван аюулгүй байдалд бодиттой хувь нэмэр оруулахыг зорж ажиллах болно. Баярлалаа та бүхэндээ. Thank you.
Major General Trim Gochu, thank you very, very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, because of the timely arrival of the Honorable Defence Minister of India, we will pause the plenary 1 right now. In fact, the plenary 2, the second plenary, begins with the address from the commander of the Sri Lankan Army. And with that, we will once again thank all our speakers for forging a nuanced and, may I say, a shared understanding of the complex operational realities in peacekeeping missions. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a short break. We will request the respected chiefs and heads of delegations and principal staff officers of the Indian Army to now join for a group photograph with the Honorable Defence Minister of India in the foyer in some time from now. The rest of our guests may please proceed to the Zorawar Hall as we await the presence of the Honorable Defence Minister of India for the keynote address. The Honorable Defence Minister address begins at 11:10 a.m. Thank you. We may now please disperse.
General